Miguel Garcia, a 22-year-old security guard in Cuta, was gone on his first day on the job. A robber tried to grab his gun, sparking a deadly struggle. Miguel was shot multiple times, but managed to fatally wound his attacker before his accomplice fled. He was rushed to the hospital but died. Police believe the motive was gun violence, although other possibilities are still being investigated. Toledo, Ohio, a man attempted to rob a Sunoco gas station on Bancroft Street. He reached over the counter to get cash, then jumped on the clerk, who was pregnant. Other employees jumped in, and one was even bitten during the struggle. The suspect was subdued and hit with a fire extinguisher, but managed to escape with the help of his accomplices. A security camera at a business in San Camilo, Los Arrios, Ecuador captured a failed robbery. Two young men on a motorbike arrived and tried to surprise the security guard, but the security guard reacted immediately, pulled out his gun, and chased the attackers. The criminals had no choice but to run in different directions to save their lives. They are now officially wanted by the authorities. Los Angeles, a daring robbery in broad daylight was caught on camera. A man in a blue tank top was chatting with two women when suddenly a car backed up right next to them. Two men jumped out. One of them pointed a gun at the victim. The women ran away as if the incident was over. But in an unexpected situation, the man in the blue shirt pulled out a gun and fired 4 shots in a row. Surprised, the robbers panicked and ran away. While returning fire, the victim also managed to escape, luckily narrowly escaping death. Two men entered a 7-Eleven. One, wearing a blue hoodie, attempted to jump over the counter but tripped near the cash register, then pointed a gun at the cashier. The other man, dressed in black, jumped over the counter with a backpack and began taking money. At that point, a security guard entered the store and opened fire, wounding the two suspects. He then held the two suspects at gunpoint until police arrived. Surveillance footage of the incident has since gone viral on social media.
Yeah, homie. Get on the ground. I'm the fucking guy here right now. The wrong one.
Late at night on a deserted street in the southern part of Sao Paulo, a horrific murder occurred. A police officer was driving home with his family when he stopped in front of the house. As his wife got out of the car to open the gate, an armed teenager suddenly approached. In that tense moment, the police officer pulled out his gun and exchanged gunfire with the criminals. The robbery was unsuccessful, but the suspects escaped into the night. Security camera captures tense moment in Brazil. Two motorbikes speed into the frame. A suspect pulls out a gun, forcing a lone motorcyclist to surrender and abandon his bike. The armed robber searches the victim and prepares to flee with the stolen motorbike, but seconds later an off-duty police officer drives up from behind. Without hesitation, he rolls down his window and fires 2 well-placed shots as he passes by. The suspect collapses next to the stolen motorbike. The quick action of the police prevented the criminals from escaping, At a California restaurant, a masked man in a ski jacket stormed the cash register, threatening the clerk and demanding money. As the terrified clerk stuffed the money into his pocket, 3 gunshots rang out. The shots came from a car parked in the drive-through lane just a few feet away. 2 bullets hit the suspect, sending him stumbling away. He was badly wounded and didn't get far before he was apprehended by police. In Brazil, a man parked his car on the side of the road, waiting to pick up his friend. At that moment, 2 men on a motorbike passed by, glancing at each other suspiciously. The man remained unaware until a woman opened the door and got in, when the robbers suddenly turned around. They approached, blocking the front of the car. The woman sitting in the back jumped out and rushed straight towards the car, clearly intending to threaten and steal the car. But the driver discovered their plan. In an instant, he pulled out a gun and shot through the windshield. The bullet caused the robbers to panic, forcing them to run away. Montgomery County Police have released shocking footage of a shootout believed to have involved teenagers. The incident occurred last month in the parking lot of a Sunoco gas station. The suspects in a stolen silver Toyota Camry attempted to rob a man at gunpoint as he entered the car, but the victim pulled out his own gun and a gunfight broke out. No one was injured, and the suspects fled the scene. Investigators believe at least one suspect, possibly a teenager, was also involved in another carjacking in Silver Spring that same day. A viral video shows the moment a policewoman narrowly escaped a robbery in Quilmes, Argentina. While walking alone on a deserted street, she was suddenly targeted by 2 men on a motorbike. One of them jumped off, shouting aggressively at her. The police officer quickly ran a few steps, then pulled out her gun and fired at the attackers. The unexpected shot sent the criminals running in panic, ruining their plan. A thief attempted to rob 2 gas workers in Cartagena, Colombia, while holding a gun. However, a third worker who was loading a truck threw a gas can at him, knocking him to the ground and injuring his head. The incident was captured on video and quickly went viral on social media. Despite his injuries, the thief managed to get up and escape without stealing anything. The 78-year-old man had just parked his car in front of his house when a white pickup truck pulled up and the attacker jumped out. Without hesitation, he pulled out a handgun. The attacker collapsed on the spot. Police later found a gun near the suspect's hand. Authorities are now reviewing security cameras to track down the attackers. Brazil, a serious incident was caught on video in Sao Paulo. Two armed men on a motorbike stopped a motorcyclist and pointed guns at him while the criminals tried to control the motorbike. The victim cleverly backed away. Seizing the opportunity, he pulled out his gun and fired at the attackers. Shocked and stunned, the two men collapsed, writhing on the ground, unable to fight back. The video later went viral, highlighting the courage of one man in turning the tables on criminals. Security camera footage captured the moment. An off-duty police officer stopped an armed robbery at a burger joint in central Brazil. At 1:27 am. In Goiânia, the officer was having dinner with 6 friends when 2 men on a motorbike arrived. One of them, still wearing a helmet, pointed a gun at the business. As 3 employees raised their hands in fear, the officer quickly pulled out his gun and fired at the suspect. The gunman returned fire before running behind the counter. A horrifying incident occurred inside an elevator when a woman was suddenly attacked by a man. Security cameras recorded the victim screaming for help while being pushed to the ground. Just as the situation became more dangerous, a brave doorman rushed into the elevator. Without hesitation, he confronted the attacker, and a fierce fight broke out inside the small cabin. His quick actions gave the terrified woman the chance to stand up and run to safety. A man was nearly robbed when a group of criminals jumped out of a black pickup truck and tried to rob him. But just as the situation became dangerous, his loyal dog rushed out of his house to protect him. The brave dog scared the attackers so much that they ran back to their car and fled. Netizens are now calling the dog a true hero. In the UK, a security camera captured a botched robbery. The cashier cleverly feigned ignorance, insisting that he didn't know how to open the register. Frustrated, the robber jumped over the counter, getting within reach. When the thief snatched the phone and switched to smoking instead of cash, the cashier saw an opportunity. He grabbed the knife and fought back, quickly subduing the suspect. Despite subduing the robber, the cashier remained restrained. Onlookers reacted differently. One man walked in and out, apologizing, while a brave woman later returned to check on the cashier. The cashier eventually took off the robber's jacket, hoping it would help identify him.
No key, man. Open the fucking door. How'd you open it? No key. How'd you open it then? How'd you open it then? No key. You open, no problem. How? Open the till. No, I just come in here 1 hour. Bro, listen. Open the till. No, man. How'd you have the money in there? How'd you put money in there? I don't know, man. Hold up. I don't know. It's okay. I don't know. Bro, open the fucking till. Look at money. How do you open that? Get back. No, man. Open that. Yeah? No, I don't know. I just got a shot. But yeah, get on me. Put the cigarettes in there. 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 You put. No problem. You put. No problem. Yeah? Come on, help you! Come on, help you! Help you! Help you! Come on, help you! Come on, help you! Come on! Yeah, it's my car and I put that car, right? Fuck, man! You can't, you see?
Procedure. You're right.
In Brazil, security cameras captured the moment a man walked into a store pretending to ask for technical support. Suddenly, he pulled a gun from his backpack, threatened the store owner, grabbed his phone, and tried to take more items from behind the counter. As he was about to run away, the store owner took advantage of the suspect's back, pulled out a gun, and fired 3 shots. 2 of the shots hit the target, killing the robber instantly. The 29-year-old suspect was taken to surgery and is currently in custody. His accomplice tried to run away after hearing the gunshots, but was also arrested by police. They stormed into a gun store in broad daylight. They pointed guns and shouted at the employees to get down, but the store owner, Jimmy Groover, 64, with more than 30 years of experience, quickly pulled out his gun. In the moment of life and death, he stopped one robber while the other ran away in fear. Jimmy later said, "I had no choice. I really didn't want to do it. But the most important thing was to keep everyone in the store safe." In Norco, California, an armed robber carrying a rifle stormed into a convenience store. However, the 80-year-old store owner reacted immediately, pulling a handgun from behind the counter and firing. One robber was hit and screamed before running away with his accomplices. Authorities praised the 80-year-old man for his bravery in stopping a dangerous robbery. A gas station owner in Ohio bravely defended himself against an armed robber. Raj Patel, who has run a BP gas station in Mount Sterling for 23 years, had to protect not only his business but also his life. Surveillance video captured the moment. A man walked up to the counter, then quickly returned with a gun in his hand. Patel calmly put the cap on the bottle and pulled out the gun. As the suspect ran away, Patel fired a shot and called the police. In Brazil, a man carrying a backpack was walking down a quiet street when 2 men on a motorcycle suddenly approached. They attempted to threaten him with weapons in order to steal his belongings, but they made a big mistake this time. Their target was a man with plenty of experience. He quickly drew his gun, causing one of the robbers to collapse next to the motorcycle, while the other panicked and ran away in sheer terror. In Philadelphia, USA, a 29-year-old robber panicked and fled after realizing that the store manager was armed. Security cameras on Walnut Street captured the moment the tall, hooded robber entered with a gun, threatening the employee, "Give it all to me or else." In just a few seconds, the young employee skillfully distracted the robber, then quickly pulled out his gun and advanced on him. Panicked, the robber rushed out. Inside the quiet house, the man suddenly heard his 2 small dogs barking madly near the garage. They rushed out, then quickly ran back inside. At that moment, a dark figure appeared. A bold and stealthy thief approached step by step, heading straight for the door, but the homeowner was ready. He had his gun drawn, his hand clenched, his eyes fixed on the intruder. The thief had just reached the door when bang! A deafening gunshot rang out. Immediately, the thief disappeared from sight and fell to the ground. In Maine, a failed gas station robbery was thwarted by a dog. While the suspect was threatening the gas station attendant for money, the dog bravely lunged at him and bit him twice in the face. The frightened man fled in a pickup truck and is still on the run. Police said the four-legged hero was a large pit bull boxer mix that the gas station attendant often brought to work. In the city of Maranguip, a daring robbery was thwarted by the quick actions of an off-duty military police officer. Security cameras captured the moment the police officer, who was standing on the sidewalk with another motorcyclist, was suddenly stopped by two men on a motorbike. They stopped, pointed guns at him, and announced the robbery. In that tense moment, the police officer remained calm. With lightning-fast reflexes, he pulled out his gun and fired at the suspects. The gunshots rang out. The criminals panicked, speeding away in desperation. An off-duty police officer bravely fought off a motorcycle robbery in Isidro, Casanova. He and his fellow officers stopped in front of a house when two armed men on motorcycles stopped and pointed guns at them. Security footage shows the officer's remarkable composure. Pretending to comply, he got off his bike, walked a few meters, then suddenly pulled out his gun and confronted the criminals. The robber panicked, dropped the gun, and ran away. The other robber abandoned his motorbike and escaped in the opposite direction. The driver, escorting a very important person, had just passed through the security gate when he encountered danger. Before the rear gate could close, a suspicious car stopped. The car door flew open, and two armed robbers jumped out, rushing dangerously close to the car. Glancing at the rearview mirror, the driver immediately recognized the threat. Without hesitation, he stepped on the gas, rushing forward to escape. But suddenly, another gate appeared in front of him. The car roared, crashing into the gate once, but it was still not enough. With unwavering determination, he stepped on the gas again, delivering a second brutal hit. The gate finally opened, and the car rushed through. In Recife, a daring robbery that seemed like a daredevil ended in disaster. Security cameras captured the moment the thief, dressed in a white shirt and red shorts, approached a group of delivery drivers. He pulled out a gun and threatened the victims, but suddenly one of the drivers realized the weapon was fake. He immediately fought back, grappling with the suspect. The others were momentarily stunned, then quickly joined together to block his escape. The thief was wrestled to the ground, beaten, and tied up. Dramatic footage has emerged from the balcony of a bar in Wakefield. A man armed with a machete suddenly attacked a parked car. He then turned to a nearby bar door, repeatedly smashing it with the knife. Within seconds, two men rushed out from inside. One wrestled him to the ground, while the other smashed a stool over his head. Amid the chaos, the attacker's accomplices stood outside, shouting threats. A man was driving his girlfriend to a stop in front of his house when two robbers came from behind, stopped the car and pointed guns at them. aiming at their expensive motorbike. Without hesitation, the man pulled his girlfriend to a safe distance and pulled out his gun to fight back. A robber was stalking his target when he spotted a car parked on the side of the road. Thinking it was an easy shot, he rushed forward, gun in one hand, and pulled open the car door with the other to threaten the driver. Unfortunately for him, the man inside the car was no ordinary victim. As soon as the car door opened, the robber was shot and fell down immediately. In Uberlândia, Brazil, 3 armed robbers ambushed an off-duty police officer and his wife as they parked their car in a garage. Noticing the gun in the robber's hand, the police officer quickly pulled out his own gun and fired back. After a tense gunfight, the robbers fled. One robber was found seriously injured and taken to the hospital. In Sao Paulo, a robber chose the wrong target. Security cameras captured the moment he stopped his motorbike, approached a couple and tried to pull out a gun. The man immediately wrestled him to the ground, while the woman joined in, hitting him with her helmet to keep him in place. The robber was eventually arrested in disgrace. Paddle was working alone when a man in a hoodie walked in, pulled out a gun, and forced her to open the cash register. As soon as she opened it, he grabbed the cash tray. A violent struggle broke out. She then hit him in the head with the tray, sending the robber running away in panic. Paddle then grabbed a hammer and chased him out. A robbery at a fast food restaurant in Patagonia was caught on security cameras. The robber approached the counter, pulled out a knife, and threatened the cashier to give him money, but the young employee remained calm and pulled out a much larger knife used to cut cold meat. Shocked by her daring action, the robber panicked and ran away without any resistance. The young girl smiled confidently after stopping the robbery so unexpectedly. Inside a restaurant where guests were dining, a masked man suddenly barged in. He pulled out a gun, threatened everyone, and forced them to hand over their wallets and phones. After retrieving the stolen goods, the robber headed for the exit. As he passed a table with 2 men, one of them suddenly pulled out a gun in response. The robber immediately collapsed, ending the robbery abruptly. This is definitely one of the funniest attempted robberies ever. The 2 guys on the motorbike thought it would be easy to pull out a knife and snatch the phone, but surprise! The victim pulled out a gun, turned the tables, stole the motorbike, and then sped away like action heroes. In the end, the robbers were robbed. When the robbers were robbed, security cameras captured a robbery at a convenience store. After grabbing the cash, 2 criminals rushed outside to escape on a motorcycle. Shoppers panicked and fled, while the robbers pointed their guns to stop anyone from chasing them. Just as it seemed they would get away, the store owner fired from eye. The street was crowded, vehicles were stopped at a red light. The car at the end suddenly became the target of two robbers. They rushed forward, reached inside to threaten the driver, and tried to rob his property. Unexpectedly, the man inside quickly pulled out a gun and fired back. One fell to the ground on the spot. The other was seriously injured and tried to crawl away. The footage shows a couple walking calmly when suddenly two armed men block their way. One of the attackers wrestles with the groom, pointing a gun at him. Just when the situation seems at its most dangerous, the scene suddenly takes a different turn. The woman walks in, clutching a machine gun, and threatens the attackers without hesitation. Terrified by her armed presence, the robbers scatter. A couple drove into their gated driveway, thinking they were safe as the gate began to close. Suddenly, two robbers rushed in, forcing their way inside and threatening the elderly couple. After a brief struggle, the thieves escaped with some valuables. But the husband, wearing only shorts and flip-flops, refused to let them go quietly. As the getaway car sped off, he hurled a large piece of debris at it, a fearless send-off. CCTV footage captured the moment a silver car sped through an intersection, was stopped by two robbers, and then stopped for a moment before crashing into a gang of motorbike thieves in São Bernardo do Campo. Amid the chaos, the criminals stole a woman's maroon bike and made their escape. Police said the driver of the silver car was fleeing a failed robbery. Chicago, a young man tried to smash a display case in a jewelry store in the Loop, but was shot in the stomach and buttocks by an armed employee. He fled, wounded, and collapsed at the Washington, Wabash train station before being taken to the hospital. The employee was praised for his bravery and questioned by police. São Paulo, Brazil, security cameras captured the moment a couple was ambushed by two armed robbers as they stepped out of a taxi. One of the robbers pulled out a gun and threatened the husband. The woman, taken by surprise, pulled out a gun and fought back, injuring the robber, who was later arrested. Her quick actions helped police seize the motorcycle and the weapon used by the robbers. Security cameras captured a man disguised as a delivery man wearing a backpack and helmet, approaching another man standing next to a silver car and talking to a woman outside a restaurant. The robber suddenly pulled out what appeared to be a gun to threaten him. The man quickly removed his watch and threw it on the ground, causing the robber to duck. At that moment, he stepped out of the frame but actually fired a shot, causing the robber to collapse on the sidewalk. The woman immediately ran to her aid and pointed to a nearby accomplice. When the gun was pointed at him, the accomplice quickly jumped on a motorbike and ran away. In Brazil, two motorcycle thieves blocked the path of a rider in an attempted robbery. They attacked the driver but were stunned when he suddenly pulled out a gun. One of the criminals was shot while trying to escape, and the other fled in panic. The entire incident was captured on security cameras. In Brazil, a security camera captured the moment a woman was standing on the sidewalk, looking at her phone when she was suddenly robbed by a young man on a bicycle. Just seconds later, her boyfriend drove his car and knocked him off his bike. As the robber tried to get up and run away, his boyfriend and other witnesses quickly gave chase. As he turned the corner, he crashed into several locals who were blocking his way. While he was limping in despair, he was suddenly kicked and fell near the train tracks. A thief pretended to be a customer in a phone store. As soon as the store owner turned his back, he quickly opened a drawer and tried to steal a phone. But his actions were immediately discovered. 3 men rushed in, restrained him and educated him before handing him over to the police. However, many people believe that physical violence can lead to serious consequences, and he should be arrested and handed over to the authorities. Incident in Tianjin, China. A woman faced a terrifying moment when a man threatened her with scissors in the middle of the street. But the situation suddenly changed when a man came from behind and hit the man on the head with a shovel. This timely action allowed passers-by to intervene, restrain the attacker, and rescue the woman to safety. Ecuador, Guayaquil, an armed robber attempted to attack a woman in a car, but the victim resisted fiercely, forcing the robber to smash his gun into the window. Police quickly intervened, leading to a shootout. The attacker was shot dead while trying to escape. The incident went viral, sparking debate about the use of lethal force in armed robbery. A young woman takes her phone to a repair shop, but when it's time to pay, she suddenly dashes for the door, trying to escape without paying. She thinks her plan will work until the shop owner, who has seen this trick before, quickly presses the lock button. With a sharp click, the door slams shut right in her face. She goes from being in control of the situation to being a trapped thief in an instant. An elderly Mexican store owner bravely fought off 2 armed robbers. Armed with nothing but a machete, he charged at them. Even after falling to the ground, he refused to give up. Shocked by his bravery, the robbers fled in panic, one on foot, while the other fled on a scooter. The surveillance camera footage quickly went viral, with people hailing the old man as a true hero. In Guayaquil, Ecuador, a surveillance camera captured a woman having her handbag stolen on the street. As the thief tried to flee on his motorbike, a pickup truck appeared and hit him 3 times. The thief managed to restart his motorbike and continue to run away, while the pickup truck driver was still chasing him, so praised the young man's actions. Outside a school in Sao Paulo, a group of mothers were waiting to pick up their children. Suddenly, a robber appeared, pointing a gun at the crowd, causing the parents to panic. In the crowd was an off-duty police officer. In a split second, she pulled out her gun and fired, and the man fell. The robbery failed thanks to the courage of a mother who protected not only her child, but also many other children. Armed masked robber rushed into the bank. Superhero with the speed of light immediately hugged the robber, disarmed the robber and wrestled him to the floor. The second robber immediately rushed to help, but the reaction was too quick, so the superhero decided to shoot, and the robber immediately ran away. The first robber tried to run away but was caught. Inside a cell phone store, two teenagers burst in, pointing guns at the clerk. One teenager grabs cash and a phone from the counter. As he turns around, the clerk suddenly pulls out a gun and opens fire. Both suspects are hit violently. The second robber tries to shoot SOO. The other, the gun doesn't go off, staggers and tries to run away. He runs away in panic. The cashier restrains the first robber until the police arrive. Security cameras captured the terrifying moment a man with a hammer stormed behind the counter. But the store staff reacted immediately, firing a blast of pepper spray straight into his face. Stumbling and blinded, the robber was caught off guard when a brave customer rushed in, picked up a chair, and smashed it over the robber's head. Overwhelmed by the pepper spray and the fatal blows, the robber collapsed. Good triumphs over evil. At the gas station convenience store, customers were shopping when a masked robber burst in with a gun in his hand. The guy pointed a gun at the man and asked him to lead him to the cashier to get the money. The superhero immediately led him to where the lady was standing at the counter. Taking advantage of the robber's carelessness, the lady immediately used pepper spray to spray straight into his face. The two men rushed out to subdue the robber and called the police. Outside a restaurant, two men in helmets prowl around, targeting potential victims. They begin arguing with unsuspecting customers, then suddenly one snatches a woman's handbag and runs away. His accomplice isn't so lucky. He tries to pickpocket a man sitting at the same table, but gets punched in the face. Within seconds, the entire group is on the attack. The men and women fight back fiercely, teaching the thief a bitter lesson he will never forget. Surveillance cameras captured the tense moment inside a convenience store. A lone robber snatched cash while threatening to force the cashier to her knees. Just as the robber tried to run away, the clerk fought back, knocking the robber to the ground. Customers quickly rushed in, kicking and punching him. Temuco, a violent robbery occurs at a liquor store. Two armed robbers rush in, knocking a customer to the ground. One of them rushes toward the cash register, but the cashier fights back. The two sides struggle violently. The second robber tries to shoot SOOT. His gun doesn't go off, it's a fake. He runs away in panic. The cashier restrains the first robber until the police arrive. In Georgia, a routine traffic stop quickly turned into a tragedy. The man stopped was Leonard Cure, 53, who had previously served 16 years in prison for a wrongful conviction before being exonerated. During the stop, he was cited for speeding on the interstate. As soon as he got out of his car, tensions escalated. The officer used a taser and even a baton to subdue him. The struggle became more intense, and then a gunshot rang out. Leonard Cure collapsed and was rushed to the hospital, where he died. The incident sparked outrage, raising questions about police use of force and the fairness of the justice system. Santiago, Chile, daring carjacking ends in total failure. In the Maypa district, a woman was about to leave her home in her car when a white car stopped. A man with a handgun jumped out, intending to attack and possibly kidnap her, but what he didn't know, the woman was actually an off-duty police officer, carrying a pistol hidden under her clothes. She immediately pulled out her gun, fired back, and forced the armed criminal to retreat. The attacker's plan collapsed in a matter of seconds. Brazil, a brave woman fights off armed robbers on a motorbike. Security cameras in Itatapira captured the dramatic moment. Two men tried to block her Chevrolet Tracker and force her to stop. Initially, she backed up, but the robbers circled around behind her, one of them pretending to be armed. That's when the mother, with her children in the car, made a bold choice. She accelerated and rammed straight into the robbers. In Dallas, Texas, a horrific home invasion was caught on camera. Two men disguised as maintenance workers knocked on Ethan Rodriguez's door around 6 p.m. When Rodriguez became suspicious and refused to open the door, the intruders forced their way in. That's when Rodriguez reacted, pulling out a gun and firing 13 shots straight into the door. Stumbling away as bullets ripped through the hallway. Police later found shell casings and bullet holes in the wall. Rodriguez said if he hadn't acted immediately, he might not be alive today.
Yeah, just open the door slowly, man. Make sure I can see your hands. Hey, we're all in here. We're all in your hands. All right, come on out, man. Are you the only one inside?
No, my brother.
All right, I want all of you guys to come out. Just step over here for me.
Go on, Dustin.
In McCalla, Alabama, a man attempted to break into a home. Homeowner Paula Tucker initially thought he was a delivery driver, but when he tried to open the door, her husband, Shelby Tucker, quickly pointed a gun at him. The man panicked, jumped off the porch, and desperately explained that he just needed a phone charger. Shelby ordered him to leave immediately, while his wife called 911. The suspect fled into the woods, but was later apprehended by police on Highway 459, wearing only green underwear. A masked thief walked into a private pharmacy, pretending to be a customer. The clerk greeted him as usual, but then he suddenly pulled a rock from his pocket, slammed it on the counter, and announced that he was robbing people with his hands stuffed in his coat. He tried to trick everyone into thinking he had a gun, demanding all the cash, but his plan backfired immediately. The store owner rushed out from inside, and the robber realized he was outnumbered. Panicking, he turned and ran. Too late, the clerk chased after him, subdued him, and with the help of the store owner, the thief was completely subdued. In Barcelona, Catalan police released surveillance footage of the dramatic moment an undercover officer stopped an armed robbery inside a supermarket. As the officer entered, he noticed the suspect standing next to a nervous cashier. Pretending nothing was happening, he circled around behind him, then quickly tackled the suspect to the ground and disarmed him. Backup officers arrived quickly, and no staff or customers were injured. The 47-year-old suspect, who had a criminal record and had just been released from prison for armed robbery, was arrested. Two men on a motorbike were wandering the streets, slowly circling, looking for an unsuspecting victim. Their eyes were fixed on a car parked in an empty lot. Seeing that no one was nearby, the man in the back jumped off. With practiced speed, he grabbed the rearview mirror, twisted it hard, and smashed it in a matter of seconds. Confidently, he turned back to his accomplices, ready to escape, but suddenly a scream came from across the street. A man from the house across the street rushed out, grabbing the thief as soon as he climbed onto the bike. The suspect fought back, kicking and pulling, but was pulled to the ground. In that tense moment, another man rushed out from the same house, charging straight at the driver. The driver tried to speed up, but was quickly restrained. Tensions are rising in Karachi, Pakistan, as residents grow increasingly frustrated with rising street crime. A serious incident occurred at a mobile phone accessories store. Footage shows a robber storming into the store, snatching a customer's and the store owner's mobile phone, along with cash on the counter. He then threatens the customer to sit down, repeatedly threatening the store owner to hand over more money. Greed becoming the cause of his downfall, he tries to take Mo. As soon as he puts the gun in his pants, the store owner fights back fiercely. The chaos spreads outside, attracting a crowd. Within seconds, dozens of people rushed in, surrounded the robber, and beat him mercilessly. An armed robber was dragged out of a supermarket empty-handed after a reckless cashier completely ignored him. Security footage from Serebryanny Prudy near Moscow shows the robber pointing a pistol straight at the woman, who calmly scanned the barcode for the customer. Shoppers were also unfazed, packing up their groceries as if nothing had happened. Moments later, another store employee rushed in, grabbed the robber by the sleeve and forced him out. Police arrived shortly afterwards and arrested the suspect. The camera captured the terrifying moment at a post office in Scotland. A robber dressed in black, hooded and armed, rushed to the cashier's counter, pointed a gun and demanded money in his pocket. The female employee did not cooperate. The robber quickly jumped over the counter and continued to threaten her at the right distance. She tried to stop the robber, but he pushed her away to search the cash drawer. The superhero outside saw him as fast as a gust of wind rushing through the counter. Punching him repeatedly like a boxer, the robber was subdued. The superhero was driving on the road when he happened to see a robber snatching something from a man on the sidewalk, and then running towards the robber, who was sitting on a motorbike and then running away. The superhero immediately stepped on the gas and accelerated straight into the two motorcyclists. The robber still held the steering wheel firmly. The superhero hit him again, and finally the two robbers fell onto the road. A superhero and his girlfriend are waiting to pay at a convenience store after buying some personal items. The door opened and four men walked in one after another. The third man behaved rudely towards the lady. Seeing that his girlfriend was upset, the superhero asked for the reason. The thug was still acting as if nothing had happened. Knowing what had happened, the superhero immediately approached and slapped. Superhero holding girlfriend's hand stopped to avoid car to cross the street when a robber recklessly snatched girlfriend's handbag. The robber ran a few steps before the hero caught up with him. He launched a series of blows and the robber lay motionless. A masked robber armed with a gun entered a cell phone store and confidently threw a bag with the intention of robbing. The money, overconfidence, made the robber pay the price. The lightning, fast superhero took out his old costume to deal with the robber very quickly and extremely neatly. The street was quite crowded with traffic. two robbers recklessly drove around on a motorbike and discovered a man walking on the sidewalk and immediately identified the target. The robber sitting behind jumped down, threatened the man, then searched his pockets for his wallet. The dog the man was leading immediately attacked the robber. The robber was scared, jumped on his motorbike and drove away. The superhero family got in the car to prepare to return home when a robber appeared on a bicycle. The guy pointed a gun and demanded to exchange cars with him. The superhero opened the door of the car, took advantage of the robber's carelessness, and immediately disarmed the robber. Then he rushed out to wrestle with the robber. The superhero couple and everyone else subdued him and handed him over to the police. The lady standing on the sidewalk waiting for the old man became the target of two robbers. A robber started to rush to grab the lady's bag. A fight broke out. The robber kept swinging his arms. The lady tried to dodge and fight back. The second robber rushed in to help, but still could not defeat the lady. The two defeated robbers had to leave dejectedly. A woman pretending to be a rich customer entered a jewelry store and chose a lot of jewelry with no intention of returning it. The woman hid the jewelry in a scarf and continued to choose. The superhero was suspicious, so he did not agree. The woman tried to calm him down, but the superhero jumped over the counter to reclaim the jewelry. Two armed robbers wearing helmets identified a roadside eatery as their target. One of them got out of his car and threatened the customers present at the restaurant to rob them of money and property. They took the girl's necklace, then approached the man, took his phone and watch, and prepared to escape. Suddenly, the superhero rushed out of the restaurant with the old costume in his hand. The robber was surprised and couldn't avoid it. The other robber quickly ran away. choice, the robber climbed over the counter, pointed a knife at the superhero, and threatened to keep him away. The robber directly opened the cash register drawer and began to collect money. In a moment of distraction, the superhero took the opportunity to hug and wrestle the robber, grabbed the knife and restrained him. The robber struggled with his remaining strength and ran away. Superhero has a free day with his son eating ice cream at a roadside stall. Suddenly, two men with their faces covered appeared, holding weapons in their hands. With his expertise, the superhero knew they were robbers and immediately stood up and took up arms to fight them. The son was extremely surprised and delighted with his father's ability, continuing to eat the unfinished ice cream. A robber wearing a helmet and holding a gun entered a billiard hall, threatened the people inside and robbed them, then turned to the cashier and forced her to give him her bag of money. Then the robber turned around. The superhero couldn't wait any longer. The robber was hugged tightly and thrown to the floor. Everyone around gathered to massage the robber. The supporting robber ran away. Two women standing outside the car fell prey to two robbers on a motorbike. Two men stopped their motorbikes, jumped off, and threatened two women to rob them. The superhero in the car understood the situation and immediately took out his weapon to chase the robbers. The robbers passively split up and ran away, leaving their motorbikes behind. The bank employee opened the door to welcome the guests. Outside was a couple who rushed in and announced that they wanted to rob money. The security guard immediately stopped them and pushed the two robbers away. The superhero appeared with the old costume in hand. The two robbers became pitiful. They ran away and then collapsed. The superhero was standing at the supermarket checkout when a masked robber opened the door from behind and walked in. The guy pushed the superhero aside to directly threaten the cashier. The superhero was just waiting for that moment. From behind, the superhero immediately rushed forward, disarming and wrestling the robber to the floor. His arms were as hard as steel, making the robber unable to move. A jewelry store robbery was caught on camera. A woman tried to hold the door open as armed. Hammer-wielding robbers rushed in. The staff inside tried to hold the door still, but could not resist the robbers' strength. They passed the first barricade and rushed in like a storm. The second checkpoint appeared. The superhero grasped the situation very quickly and reacted extremely professionally. With weapons in hand, he immediately overwhelmed the robbers. The robbers immediately ran away. The police received the report and gave chase. The robbers would have to pay the price. The robber was walking around on the sidewalk and saw a car stopped at the curb, so he identified his target. The guy approached, pointed his gun and banged on the door, demanding that the superhero open the door. The door opened, and the robber lay down for disturbing the superhero's sleep. The superhero drove to the checkpoint and stopped. While waiting for the checkpoint officer, two robbers on a motorbike had been following him without him knowing. The robber sitting in the front jumped down and started pointing a gun at people, intending to threaten them and rob them of their property. Faced with the superhero's decisive action, the robber immediately turned around and ran away. But it was too late. He had to pay the price for his stupid actions. The superhero and his wife were stopping their car on the side of the road when a group of 4 robbers rushed in. They split into 2 groups to carry out the car robbery. The superhero immediately jumped up. His inherent strength had already dealt with the 2 robbers, then ran to the other side and pulled out 2 more robbers, easily taking on 4 robbers by himself. After work, the superhero was walking home when he met 2 robbers on a motorbike. The superhero immediately took out his weapon and killed 1 robber. The other robber threw away his motorbike and ran away. Just as he said goodbye to his colleagues to walk home, the superhero encountered 2 teenage robbers. They used a motorbike to block the superhero, and the robber behind him pointed a gun at him. Before he could prepare anything, the superhero had to give him his phone. But when he got on his motorbike to escape, the superhero rushed like the wind and snatched his gun. 1 robber lay down, the other struggled to drive the motorbike away with his pants down. The robber wearing a backpack was walking around and discovered the car stopped on the side of the road. He immediately approached it and used a gun to knock on the door and threatened to rob it. The car door opened, a loud bang rang out, and the robber ran a short distance before falling down. The price to pay for interrupting the superhero's nap. The superhero was preparing food to deliver to the customer when suddenly 2 robbers appeared on foot approaching him. Realizing the robbers' evil intentions, the superhero immediately pulled out a long knife from his shopping cart and chased after the 2 robbers. A couple in love were traveling on a motorbike when they encountered 2 robbers on a motorbike who pointed guns at them. Fearing for his life and his girlfriend's, the young man stopped and gave them the key. It seemed like a perfect robbery. Each robber got on a motorbike and left. Then suddenly something unexpected happened. The superhero, driving from afar, observed the incident and immediately stepped on the gas pedal and sped towards the robber. The camera captured the moment a girl was walking on the sidewalk when two men approached her and stopped. The girl was extremely panicked and threw her bag containing money and phone into the gate inside the house. She kept failing to throw the bag inside. On the fifth try she succeeded. But, surprisingly, the man behind the motorbike opened the gate and gave her the bag back because this was their house, and she was just being too suspicious. The superhero was driving out of the mall to return home when he was targeted by two robbers. The robber sitting in the back jumped down and moved quickly, armed himself and prepared to threaten him. When the superhero discovered him, he stepped on the gas and the car sped away. It seemed like everything had stopped when suddenly the superhero reversed the car and drove so skillfully that it crashed into two robbers who couldn't escape. A couple in love make a living by stealing. This time, the thief sneaked into a house to steal a phone and was discovered. The guy immediately ran towards his friends who were waiting on the motorbike. Behind him were young men with sticks, shouting and chasing after them. He tried to resist, but it was no use. The young men beat him without fail. The pain was so great that the robbers threw away their motorbike and ran away. The superhero took his nephew to the library to read books and waited outside when he saw the police chasing the criminal. Observing the robbers running distance, the superhero immediately put his foot in the robber's running path, causing him to fall to the floor. The police immediately rushed in to arrest the robber. A woman walking on the sidewalk became the target of two robbers on a motorbike. The robbers stopped and the robber behind jumped off and chased after the woman to snatch her handbag. The woman fought back fiercely and refused to lose her property despite the robber dragging her away. Too surprised, the superhero driving the truck appeared and without fear of collision, rushed into the robber on the motorbike. The superhero and the surrounding villagers chased two robbers. The car forgot to pull the handbrake, but they successfully overcame it, and together they helped the woman.